We expect crime scenes to be sterile environments, protected by yellow tape and cataloged by technicians in white suits. But in 1829, if a murder happened in London, the most vital evidence was usually ground into the dirt by a heavy leather boot before anyone even realized a crime had occurred. Early murder investigations relied on neighborhood gossip and hearsay rather than physical clues. When a body was discovered, crowds of curious onlookers frequently surged into the alleys, trampling blood trails and passing around weapons like morbid souvenirs. This informal system failed as London transformed into a swelling industrial metropolis. In these dense, anonymous crowds, a criminal could commit a violent act and vanish into the fog within seconds, leaving no one behind to provide the gossip the police relied on. The first uniformed police constables were equipped with little more than lanterns and wooden nightsticks. They were designed to maintain order on the streets, not to solve the increasingly complex crimes of a rapidly modernizing city. Scotland Yard's response came in 1842, a specialized unit of 8 plainclothes detectives. The Victorian public was initially outraged, viewing these men as slinkers in the shadows, spies who blurred the lines between the law and the underworld they were meant to infiltrate. To prove their worth and catch sophisticated criminals, these early detectives realized they needed a new weapon, the systematic application of hard scientific data. The first breakthrough focused on the era's most common and terrifying weapon, arsenic. Arsenic was tasteless, cheap, and easily disguised in a family meal. Because it mimicked the symptoms of natural illness, it became the weapon of choice for greedy relatives, earning it the dark nickname, the inheritance powder. In 1836, chemist James Marsh moved the investigation from the kitchen to the laboratory. He developed a method to extract proof of murder from the very tissue of the victim. By combining a sample of the body with zinc and sulfuric acid, the test forced invisible traces of poison to react. If arsenic was present, it produced a gas that left a distinct dark metallic mirror on a glass surface. For the first time, a corpse could provide the undeniable evidence needed for a conviction. Chemistry had turned the body into a primary witness for the prosecution. In 1888, the Jack the Ripper investigation was famously paralyzed by crowds that turned murder sites into tourist attractions before police could secure the perimeter. The public outcry over these trampled scenes forced Scotland Yard to change how it managed the environment of a crime. Detectives adopted police photography to prevent evidence from being contaminated by curious neighbors or the weather. A photograph provided a mechanical advantage over a detective's memory or a hand-drawn sketch. It captured the exact placement of a weapon and the position of a body with a level of objectivity that a human observer couldn't replicate. This technology allowed investigators to freeze a moment in time, enabling them to study the geometry of a crime scene months after the physical street had been cleared. The final challenge was identifying the suspects themselves. In the 19th century, a repeat offender could simply change his coat, grow a mustache, and adopt a fake name to disappear back into society. To combat this, Alphonse Bertillon introduced an anthropometric system. Police began using calipers to record exact, unchangeable bodily measurements, like skull length and arm span, to catalog repeat offenders. These measurements were stored alongside standardized mugshots. These archives allowed departments to strip away aliases and track criminals as they moved through the growing city. In the 1880s, Francis Galton and Edward Henry refined this further by documenting unique patterns of human fingertips. Their system categorized the specific loops and arches, creating a searchable database that could link a suspect to a scene without a prior record. In 1902, Scotland Yard achieved its first conviction based entirely on this data, when a burglar named Harry Jackson left a single thumbprint on a freshly painted windowsill. A suspect's identity was no longer a matter of their word or an eyewitness's memory. It was anchored by their own biology. These scientific advancements captivated the public, creating a new cultural archetype, the brilliant detective who could solve mysteries through cold, hard logic. Arthur Conan Doyle immortalized this shift with Sherlock Holmes, a character whose use of magnifying glasses and chemical tests mirrored the ambitions of Scotland Yard. The Victorian obsession with data led to dangerous pseudoscientific theories. notably those of Cesare Lombroso. Lombroso promoted phrenology, claiming that criminality was biological and could be identified by the shape of a person's skull or the protrusion of their jaw. These maps weaponized the aesthetic of science to codify social prejudices against the poor and immigrants. It allowed investigators to target individuals based on their appearance rather than their actions. Over 70 years, policing moved from night watchmen with wooden rattles to an organized force using biometric databases and forensic chemistry. They proved that systematic observation could overcome the chaos of the anonymous city.